Hi friends, Brianna here again, Associate Director of Theatre Education and Arts at Miami Children's Museum, and I'm so glad that you could make it to this video as we are acknowledging Jewish Disability Awareness, Acceptance and Inclusion Month for the month of February. Now, this is a unified effort of Jewish organizations worldwide to raise awareness and foster inclusion of people with disabilities and those who love them. We have partnered with our friends from PJ Library here in Miami who aim to promote the love of reading while exploring timeless Jewish values and traditions. No, without further ado, I've gathered my friends from the theatre troupe to help tell the story, and I have a special guest with us. And they are going to use American Sign Language to help tell the story of The Mitten String by Jennifer Rosner. Take it away, everyone.
It was said that Ruthie Tober's family warmed the hands of the entire village because everyone who lived there, big and small, wore mittens knitted from Tober wool. The Tober's sheep had the fluffiest wool in the region. On shearing days, friends and neighbors came to help Ruthie's family clip and gather the soft, downy fleece. The Tobers worked hard, scouring, picking, and carding the wool. Ruthie, who loved bright colors, prepared the pots for dyeing. When it was time for spinning, Ruthie's mother stood at the great wheel and spun the wool into yarn.
Most nights, Ruthie and her mother sat together and knitted. Ruthie loved how their stitches, each one a tiny knot of yarn, added up to form warm, cozy garments. Ruthie especially enjoyed making mittens. She knitted plenty of extras in the smallest sizes because she had noticed that many children lost mittens every winter. Ruthie herself had lost some. Her mother reminded her with a wink.
On market days, Ruthie's parents loaded their wagon with bolts of cloth and heaping baskets of yarn to sell and trade. Ruthie took along a basket of her most colorful mittens. One day, on the way home from market, Ruthie's family came upon a woman standing with her baby at the side of the road. The woman did not speak to them. Instead, she held up a slate with a neatly printed message. Her husband had gone for help. The Tobers invited the woman and her child to spend the night. Smiling gratefully, the woman wrote her name Bayla and her baby's name Aaron on the slate.
Ruthie noticed the length of yarn wrapped around Bayla's wrists. The yarn was the deepest blue Ruthie had ever seen. Deeper even than the special blue thread braided into the white tassels of her father's prayer shawl. Ruthie imagined all the mittens she could make with yarn like that. "Why doesn't Bayla speak?" Ruthie asked her mother. "Bayla is deaf," her mother explained. "She cannot hear, so she cannot speak. Luckily, she reads and writes. It is very wise of her to carry chalk and a slate." Ruthie watched in amazement as Bayla communicated with Aaron using hand signs. To Ruthie, it looked as if Bayla was standing before an invisible spinning wheel, her words flowing from her fingers like delicate strands of yarn.
That night, Ruthie could not fall asleep. She wondered what it was like for Bayla not hearing and not speaking. Was the silence peaceful, or was it lonely? If Aaron needed her during the night, how would Bayla know? Ruthie peered into their room. Bayla was sleeping, one arm dangling over the side of the bed. The blue yarn was still looped around her wrist. From there, it trailed across the floor to the cradle, ending in a bow around Aaron's tiny arm.
Ruthie remembered seeing a string trail through the village from little Sarah Lowry's sick bed to the synagogue Holy Ark. Ruthie's mother had explained that the string carried the family's prayers from Sarah to get well again. But why would Bayla tie a piece of yarn between herself and her baby in the night? Just then, Aaron began to cry as his arms moved the yarn tugged Bayla awake. Bayla lifted Aaron in a soothing embrace and warmed his chilly hands on her cheeks.
Early the next morning, Ruthie set to work knitting with her softest, fluffiest skein of yarn. She stitched the slender cuff and thumb, then shaped a tiny mitten top. Soon, Ruthie had just one mitten just the right size for Aaron. As she was about to start on the other, Ruthie had an idea. This time, she knitted a mitten big enough to fit Bayla. Then she connected the mittens large and small with a length of string, perfect for Bayla and Aaron on the coldest nights.
When Ruthie gave her the mittens, Bayla smiled with delight. She showed Ruthie the sign for mittens, sliding her left hand over her right hand and her right hand over her left hand. After breakfast, Ruthie knitted Bayla and Aaron each a second mitten. Ruthie excitedly paired off the mittens for market, connecting them with a string that could be threaded through a child's coat and sleeves. The string would keep the mittens from getting lost.
"You are both clever and kind," Ruthie's mother said, beaming with pride. "You make our world a bit better with every stitch." Later, Bayla showed Ruthie the woody plants she could use to make a bright blue color for her dye pots. Not long after that, Bayla's husband arrived with the repaired wagon, ready to take his family home for the Sabbath. Bayla unraveled the blue yarn from her wrist and handed it to Ruthie. Ruthie wrote her thank you on Bayla's slate. She also wrote the day of their next shearing. By that time, Ruthie thought Aaron would have outgrown his tiny mittens, and she would make him a bigger pair, bright blue, and of course, tied together with a length of Tober yarn. Ruthie could hardly wait. The end.